is Reza Shafi. I'm the VP of Product here at Kong. And today I'm very excited to be presenting along with Nikolai Nikolaev, one of our engineers from the Kong Office of the CTO, all about this age-old war. I mean, let's not call it war, but this old question of what is the difference between gateways and service meshes. And we really believe the two of them can exist in harmony. And we're going to show you how they can exist in harmony with a really cool demo that Nikolai has been working on. But before we get into the demo, let me talk a little bit about an analogy that I found very useful in understanding the concept, and also present that in the context of some of the types of connectivity challenges that we've been talking about throughout this summit. So this building is very familiar to Kong employees. It's the headquarters that we have here in San Francisco, and that before the whole COVID time, we all used to go to the ones, one of us who were in the city. So why am I showing you the building? Well, because there is some interesting things around how a building is secured, and entry to it is authenticated and authorized and logged, that map well to how we do this for connectivity as well. So when I enter the building, this is what I see first. And this is where visitors are authenticated, authorized, and logged as they enter. This is very much akin to a gateway. This is the edge type of connectivity. We're entering and we need to have this type of information captured for us so that the building is secure. Now, if you go to the Kong office, you will see another gateway, another front desk. That is where you get, again, authorized, logged, and authenticated to enter the Kong offices within that building. So this is akin to the interaction between applications and how they need to be secured, right? So if I am in the Kong floor and I go to another floor, I need to be getting authenticated again by that other company. Although if within the context of the building, I've already gone through the edge gateway. But when I'm inside the building and I go between different parts of the building, I can use my badge. And I've been issued this badge by Kong, and I don't have to go through a gateway or a front desk, I should say, anymore, right? The card allows me to do that. And this is kind of like the MTLS certificate that's being validated by the service mesh and the internal inside the app service-to-service type of connectivity, right? So we have really three types of connectivity involved in this interaction. Edge, which is the front-end gateway, cross-app, which is between floors in my analogy, and in-app, which is the card view. And then there's different types of architectures involved that we can support this connectivity on. And what really, and of course, there's all the different platforms that we support. And what we believe here at Kong is that you just need the right type of connectivity runtime for each of these different interactions. So you need gateways at the edge and between applications, and you need a mesh for in-app connectivity, and they really can exist in harmony. So without further ado, let me pass it on to Nikolai to show some of how this interaction happens between the Kong gateway and the Kong mesh to enable this type of connectivity within an application setting or a multi-app setting, leveraging those two runtimes. With that, let me pass it on to Nikolai. It's all yours.
Okay. So let's get to the demo. I'm Nikolai. What we're going to show you, and great analogy, Reza. What we're going to show you is how Kong Mesh and Kong Gateway, specifically in the form of Kong Ingress, are merging together and complementing each other in a single Kubernetes cluster deployment. This whole setup can be done in the various other scenarios that Kong Mesh can be applied, and there are other sessions where we discuss hybrid deployments, multi-cluster deployments, but in this one we are focusing on a standalone Kong Mesh deployment in a single cluster. So what we are going to show is how these two technologies complement each other. For this, we're going to use a sample shopping application or the marketplace application that we have as part of our development process. Kong Mesh is based on Kuma, and we call this application the Kuma demo. It effectively is a four services application. We have the front end, the back end, and a couple of databases. For our needs, we are mostly interested into the front end because this is where all the incoming requests are coming. But we will also demonstrate observability throughout the whole mesh. When we want to extend the capabilities of the mesh behind the basics and what Reza gave us an analogy, like the MTLS or inter-service encryption and authentication, Kong Mesh, as is typical for service meshes, is providing other facilities, other tools, namely tracing and metrics. So here we see the three famous logos, Jaeger, Prometheus, and Grafana. So this is these are the tools that help and are being deployed on top of Kong Mesh in a way that they give this visibility and observability within what's happening in the mesh. Now, how these things merge with Kong ingress. So what we're going to show is how Kong ingress or Kong gateway is being deployed within the mesh. So it becomes part of the mesh on one hand. As you can see here on the picture, we are deploying the sidecar, which is Envoy, which makes it part of the mesh. And on the other hand, it exposes all these internal services and utilities and tools that are used for the advanced functionality that Kong Mesh allows to the outside world. The final architecture that we are targeting is a single mesh with all the tools, utilities, applications that we have inside it, and all this is guarded and secured, authenticated, and we are also going to show rate limiting by Kong ingress, Kong gateway deployed as an ingress in the Kubernetes cluster. So for this demo, I have prepared a single Google Cloud cluster in GKE. Also I have a number of steps in forms of scripts that I have prepared. I'm not going to run the scripts. I'm going to go through them and copy and execute each of the commands. So the first command, and all these are effectively taken and slightly modified from the official docs for Kong Mesh and Kong ingress. So the first command is to deploy the control plane or Kong Mesh itself. We are seeing how all the different resources are deployed, and soon there will be the creator is going to be the container is going to be created, the whole pod for the control plane. The next thing that we want to do is we want to install the Kuma demo or the demo application, the shopping application that we're going to use, and also provision several resources alongside it. These are fairly standard. As we said, so they are part of the official documentation. So these can be found, these are publicly available and can be found. The two resources that we need is the mesh resource for mesh, where we enable the MTLS, mutual TLS, so that we secure all the communication in the mesh, and also a traffic permission, which will ensure that all the services can communicate between each other. So I'm taking all this and pasting it here on the console. And we are going to see how all the four services are getting deployed within the mesh and being downloaded. while this happens, let's look at what are the next steps. So the next steps are to actually deploy conk ingress. So this phase consists of two sub phases or two sub steps. The first one is to actually deploy the conk ingress. Command again. This is standard command. It's available in the docs. And the next one is to make it part of the mesh. So if I have to, if I can refer back to this architecture, essentially we first deploy it and then we deploy the sidecar container, make sure that the sidecar container is deployed alongside it. For this, I'm going to start the deployment. So we see conk mesh and demo are already deployed. The last resource here. I'm deploying conk ingress now, and then making sure it is part of conk mesh. Rotating the namespace and then restarting the pod. Now, if we go inside the pod, we are going to see that besides the this controller and proxy, we also see the sidecar and the init container being available here inside the pod. So after the pod finishing its initialization, we're going to have the full-featured application architecture as we describe it. Now the next steps are effectively configuring both conk mesh and conk ingress to do whatever we want to do, namely to expose certain endpoints and to do some advanced authentication and traffic limiting, etc. So the first thing is to expose two ingresses. So these are standard Kubernetes ingress resources that are going to be picked up by conk and are going to result in exposing certain endpoints. So effectively, these two are the conk mesh GUI and the marketplace application front end itself. So when I apply this, I should be able to actually reach out these two applications. In order to get this, before I am able to get this, I need to check the services and see what is the external IP that conk ingress is exposing. In a normal situation, this will end up in a DNS record in your DNS server. Because I don't have a DNS server prepared for this demo, I'm going to use my local hosts file to actually put this record and make sure that all these names where I'm going to access my services are resolvable. So with this, I should be able to go and access conk GUI. Here it is, conk mesh GUI. Here it is. We can see, for example, the data planes. You have the ingress, the demo application, the backend, master. So these are the Postgres and the Redis master. When we click on the gateways, we can see this is the configuration of the conk gateway, how it is represented within the mesh, etc., etc. The next thing that we should be able to see is the marketplace application. Here it is. As we said, it's a fairly simple application. You can go and search. For example, I think that there was cap, shirt. You can do some searches, or you can go browse, etc. So this is the first phase. So now we have a basic service exposure through conk ingress. The next step is to enable basic authentication. So for this, I need to set up a number of resources. Essentially, it's a secret, it's a conk consumer. These are fairly standard conk gateway resources. And then I'm enabling the Kong plugin. Also the Kong plugin as a resource. Let me do this on the console. And the last step is to actually mark the marketplace resource. This is also fairly standard operation for Kong ingress. I'm effectively annotating the marketplace ingress with the basic authentication and the basic authentication. So as a result of this, when I try to log in, I'm going to get a login window. So I cannot access it anymore. It's publicly available, like to internet, but once you get here, you have to actually provide your credentials. So the credentials are very simple: username 1 and password 1. Okay, I'm not saving this, and now I can access it. The next thing that we want to do is enable the rate limiter. So the rate limiter is fairly simple. Again, plugin. I'm just going to add this resource here, and in order to demonstrate the rate limiter, because effectively the limiting that we have set is we have 50 requests per minute, meaning that if I refresh each and every second, I'm going to be able to pass only 50 requests and 10 are going to be dropped. So for this, I have a simple plugin here that is actually going to do these refreshes for me. And once it reaches 50, it should stop. Okay, we're not going to wait for it. We're just going to oh, so okay, that was quick. Obviously, so we have API rate limit exceeded, and once the minute passes, it's going to retry again. Then there are two more steps that we want to apply. As was described in the architecture, we have metrics and tracing. These are a little bit more complex because actually you can first we have to deploy the metrics which are available with Kong Mesh. I'm going to do this now because it takes some time. It starts creating various resources. It's going to start spawning services soon. And we also have to enable the metrics within the mesh. And also we have to configure Kong ingress, because what we want to do is we want to be able to see metrics from both the Kong ingress and also the mesh, and we're going to see them on the same dashboard, like on the same Grafana instance. That's actually the beauty of it, because both solutions are complementing each other in a way that actually they're exposing both the metrics and the tracing, as we'll see later. Everything is seen in the unified the dashboards and the tooling that are provided within Kong Mesh. So we have the metrics deployed, we have the Grafana Prometheus, everything is here in place. Let's apply the other part of the resources. So this is, let's see here, okay. And then I'm going to also configure Kong ingress with all its configurations. It looks big. Oh. Okay. Okay, I think that it should work now. The application, the dashboard should be available here. I hope soon. Let's see. Okay. there's something wrong with the resources. Let's try to apply them once again and see if there was something wrong with pasting these. Okay, these are unchanged. And then we wanted to also paste the annotations. Okay, so everything should be working here. Oh, okay, it just took some time. The default is admin. We don't want to change that for the time being. So what we see here on the dashboards, we have the standard Kuma data plane dashboards. Let's just do the last 1 hour or the last 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay, so some traffic is passing. We can see some statistics. This is, let's see, Kuma demo app. Okay. What actually we can do is we can also import, and I think it was 7.4.22. This is something that's publicly available again. It's the Conk official dashboard, and you will see how this thing is already connected. Sorry, pressing the wrong thing. Okay, so we see requests per second. They are capped at some, some value here because, as you can see, Kong error, it continues to retry and generate traffic for us so that we can see statistics. There are some other things there. In the Kong official, I think that there was something interesting. Okay, so Nginx, we can see some insights about Nginx, total connections, handled connections, etc. And the last thing that we want to finalize with, this is the tracing. So tracing is in form of a Jaeger instance. So we are deploying the tracing tracing tooling. We are enabling this for Kong mesh. This is effectively updating the mesh resource to include. So you see here it includes MTLS, metrics, and tracing now. We also have to for the mesh we have to also create a traffic trace resource to actually allow it for each and every service that's available out there. And then again, the more complex config that comes with, it's not complex. It's just two things. We are exposing the tracing host so that we can access it from outside of the mesh, and there is also the Kong plugin for Zipkin that we are going to use. So the last thing that we are going to do is we are going to update the annotations of the marketplace ingress so that it's going to be applied. And this is Jaeger here. Okay, so we already see that we see all the traces starting from Kong itself through Kong proxy, then the front end, the back end, and that's where it ends. If we click here on the system architecture, we're going to see, so this is kind of the graph of the services. If we click on a particular trace here, for example, so this one has failed. This probably has been already, but these are no, not this one. Let's find some more traces. We should be able to see something more complex. Okay, so here it starts from Kong proxy front end, and then there should be the backend somewhere in some other traces. So with this, we have actually achieve the architecture that we wanted to show, which is essentially a full-featured Kong mesh with enabled security between services, with enabled tracing, with enabled metrics, and we demoed how this integrates with Kong ingress. That's the demo. Reza?
Thanks, Nikolai. This was great. If you go to the next slide, I'll wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So thank you. This is a really cool demo to see those runtimes work together and to help us achieve both the connectivity at the edge as well as within the app. Now, all this comes together in the context of our platform Connect around the runtimes. What you saw there was Kong ingress and Kong mesh, the runtimes that Connect enables you to provision and manage in a consistent way across any cloud provider or any Kubernetes, being used to achieve an end-to-end use case. And then going back to the services on top of it, we provide through Connect the capabilities that you see here around management of the services in a service registry through Service Hub, managing of the runtimes through Runtime Manager, Vitals for managing the health of the runtimes, as well as the services, Portal for publishing the edge services in a more formal manner, and for developers to be able to interact with these services, we have Insomnia integration into Connect. So hopefully you found today's session interactive. Nikolai, thank you very much. You did all the hard work here, so really appreciate it. And I want to make sure there's time for questions as well. So if there's questions, please type them up right now, and we will be doing our best to answer them. Thank you very much.